Hey, what's up, guys? Machine King here, and welcome to the next episode of Deck Profile. You guys have spoken. In the poll we did a few days ago, it was decided by a 75 to 25% vote that we would do Egyptian God Troll deck next. With that being said, let us get started. So first up, we would do the archetypal stuff. Well, this one's really not an archetypal, but I guess we'll do the divine support for, of course, the 3 Egyptian god cards. Obviously, you want to run 1 Obelisk the Tormentor, 1 Slifer the Sky Dragon, and 1 Winged Dragon of Ra. The 3 Egyptian god cards. Of course, all of them have the caveat of needing to be tribute summoned by 3 monsters. You got Obelisk the Tormentor, who's, of course, this cannot be negated. The summoning cannot be negated. When normal summoned, card effects cannot be activated, and this card cannot be targeted by spells, traps, or monster effects, or card effects. And then once per turn, during the end phase of this card with special summon, send it to the graveyard. So like if Monster Reborn and stuff, if you Monster Reborn it from the graveyard, it goes right back. And then, of course, you contribute 2 monsters and destroy all monsters your opponent controls. And then this card, of course, cannot declare an attack when this effect is activated. Then, of course, you got Slifer the Sky Dragon, which, of course, 3 tributes. The effect cannot be negated. And then when this card is normal summoned, cards and their effect cannot be activated. Once per turn during the end phase, if this card is special summoned, send it to the graveyard. This card gains attack and defense equal to how many cards you have in your hand times 1,000. So if you have 3 cards in your hand, its attack and defense is 3,000. And of course, it has its second mount ability, where if you special summon a monster while Slifer the Sky Dragon is out on the field, it loses 2,000 attack and defense. And if the said monster attack points hit 0, so let's say you have Voice Grader on the field, which has 1,900, this effect goes off, and loses 2,000 attack. Since Voice Grader only has 1,900, the attack will go to 0, and Voice Grader is destroyed. And then, of course, you have the Winged Dragon of Ra. Same thing like the other 2. Must be attributed by 3 monsters, and its summoning cannot be negated. When normal summoned, other cards and effects cannot be activated. When you normal summon, you could pay life points so that you only have 100 left, and this card gains attack and defense equal to the amount of life points gained. You could pay 1,000 life points and then target 1 monster on the field and destroy that target. So, decent pop effect, and of course, has the ability to have, if you're playing a normal duel, when you get up with 8,000, 7,900. 7,900. And of course, more if you have more life points. And then, of course, you have the 2 other forms of Ra. You have the Winged Dragon of Ra Spear Mode. So, of course, you have the Winged Dragon of Ra Spear Mode. And then, of course, the Winged Dragon of Ra Immortal Phoenix. So, here we go. For Winged Dragon of Ra Spear Mode, cannot be special summoned. It requires 3 tributes on either side of the field to normal summon. To that side of the field. Cannot be normal set. And then this shift control to the card's owner during the end phase of the next turn. Cannot attack. Your opponent cannot target this card for attacks or by card effects. You could tribute this card and then special summoned 1 Winged Dragon of Ra from your hand or deck, ignoring the summoning conditions, and if you do, its attack and defense become 4,000. So, really easy way to get the Winged Dragon of Ra onto the field. And then also, of course, it's a really good way to clear your opponent's board of monsters. Wing Dragon of Raw Spear Mode at most sees the most competitive play, even to this day, as a good side deck tech option. Just like many kaijus, it allows it allows you to clear your opponent's board almost for free because it's very hard to negate a tribute summon. And because 9 out of 10 times you're not going to be running Wing Dragon of Raw in your opponent's deck, this card immediately then shifts and then you contribute it. So it's a real good way to clear your opponent's board. And then of course you got Wing Dragon of Raw's second form. It's Immortal Phoenix form. This card cannot be normal summoned, must be special summoned by its own effect, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. If the Winged Dragon of Ra is sent from your field to your graveyard while this card is in your graveyard, special summon this card. Cards and effects cannot activate it in response to this effects activation. This card is unaffected by other card effects. You can pay 1,000 life points, send one monster on the field to the graveyard. Once per turn during the end phase, send this card to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon one Winged Dragon of Raw Spear Mode from your hand, deck, or graveyard, ignoring its summoning condition. So this is your overall final boss monster, and of course, it also allows you to go back into Raw Spear Mode, which allows you to get the Winged Dragon of Raw back. This is the, with these, you have got a great combination to do everything that it does in the anime. And of course, for the final support, you have your 3 Ra's Disciples. When this card is summoned, you can summon the other 2 copies of it from your extra, or from your hand or deck. Caveat is this can only be used for the special summoning of an Egyptian god card. So that is all the divine monsters. Long segment, but it's important to go over the effects of each monster. Next up is the non-divine monsters. This is where the troll part comes into this, because this is a really fun deck to play. I'll tell you what. So first up, we got 3 Marsh Macrons. This card is really good. When it's destroyed, you can summon the other 2 from your graveyard, hand, or deck. So it's really good to always keep them on the field. Really good defense. And always gives you 2 bodies on the field, which is 2 out of the 3 needed for the special summon of Egyptian God, for the normal summon of an Egyptian God card. Next up, you got Marshmallow. When this card is set and then flipped face up, due to an attack, it cannot be destroyed, but this card cannot be destroyed by battle, and your opponent takes 1,000 points of damage. Really good for surprising your opponent with a sudden monster. Then of course you got Aroma Jar. Well, yeah, you have Aroma Jar. Aroma Jar cannot be destroyed by a battle, and for every standby phase that goes by, yours and your opponent's, you gain 500 life points. If you're starting to notice the theme of this deck, it is very much a stall deck. You stall out and gain as much life points as you can so that you can get your Egyptian God card out. Marshmallow and Aroma Jar are the backbone, cannot be destroyed by battles, so your opponent is kind of stuck until they can pop him. And of course, with Aroma Jar, you're allowed to continuously gain life points in order to get Raw to a massive amount of life points, or a massive amount of attack and defense points with your life points. And when you finally do get Raw onto the field, if you keep Aroma Jar on the field, you can continue to recover so your opponent can't just come back next turn and wipe you off the board with only 100 life points left. So it's good for recovery and getting that massive attack and defense for Raw. Next up, we got 3 copies of Scapegoat. This is the retrain of the classic card Scapegoat. This one's a bit better because the tokens can be tributed off for Tribute Summon. And if you have Link monsters, you can, of course, Link summon with them. And then, of course, you have Blockman, which is really good for having it face up on the field for a few turns, tributing it to get those tokens. And then, of course, you got Spirit Reaper. Spirit Reaper cannot be destroyed by battle, and after resolving a card effect that targets a face-up card, destroy this card. When this card, inflicts battle damage to your opponent by a direct attack, discard one random card from their deck. Really good for just thinning out your opponent's cans, and of course, cannot be destroyed by battle, so it's great for the stalling of this deck. And that is all the non-divine type monsters. Like I said, if you cannot tell from the theme of this deck, this is definitely a stall life point gain deck. It is very fun to play, though. I will tell you that much. Alright, so next up, we have the Divine Spell and Trap support. This is all the Egyptian god support and the support that helps divine monsters out. So first, we have the Egyptian god spell and traps. We got Thunder Force Attack, Blaze Cannon, Soul Crossing, Fist of Fate. Those are the 4 spells for the Egyptian gods. Let's go through each of them, shall we? Thunder Force Attack. This is Slifer the Sky Dragon's signature card. Spell card, at least. This card's activation and effect cannot be negated. If you control a monster whose original name is Slifer the Sky Dragon, destroy as many face-up monsters your opponent controls as possible. Then, if you activated this card during your main phase, you can apply the following effect. Draw cards equal to the number of monsters destroyed by battle by this effect, and sent to your opponent's graveyard. You can only attack with one monster this turn. You can only activate Thunder Force once per turn. So, what this basically does, it allows you to pop as many of your opponent's monsters. Then, you get to draw that amount of cards, which, if, of course, Slifer the Sky Dragon's on the field, which allows you to gain more attack and defense points for Slifer the Sky Dragon. It's just so you can help clear the way for Slifer the Sky Dragon to beat over your opponent. Next, we have Blaze Cannon, which of course is the Winged Dragon of Ra's attack name card. And its effect as follows. This card is always treated as a Blaze Accelerator card. One Winged Dragon of Ra you control gains the following effects until the end of this turn. This card's activation and effect cannot be negated. This card is unaffected by your opponent's card effects. When an attack is declared involving this card, you contribute any number of other monsters that did not declare an attack this turn. This card gains attack equal to the number of tributed monsters' combined original attack until the end of this turn. After damage calculation, if this card attacked, you can send all monsters your opponent controls to the graveyard. So this allows you to add a lot of the Winged Dragon of Ra's anime effects to it. It is good. It is great protection. It is great for tributing off other monsters to gain even more attack already. Because again, if you're using the life point Winged Dragon of Ra, you could already have at least 7,000 if you're going max attack points. Max life points, of course. So that means even more life points to beat over your opponent with your Winged Dragon of Ra. So this card is really good for an Egyptian god, of course. And then, of course, next up, we got Soul Crossing, one of 2 of Obelisk the Tormentor's cards. During your main phase, immediately after this effect dissolves, tribute summon 1 divine beast monster, and when you do, you contribute a monster your opponent controls, even though you do not control them. But if you tribute summon this way, apply an effect. Until the end of this turn, after this card resolves, you can only activate 1 card or effect per turn, not counting the effects of divine beast monsters. So basically, this limits you to only using Divine Beast Monster's effect, but it also allows you to get the Winged Dragon of Ra, Obelisk the Tormentor out a little bit easier. And then, of course, you got Obelisk the Tormentor's signature attack card, Fist of Fate. Let us read. When this card This card's activation and effect cannot be negated. If you control a monster whose original name is Obelisk the Tormentor, negate the effect of one effect monster your opponent controls, and if you do, destroy it. And if you do that, for the rest of this turn, the effects of that monster are negated as well as the activated effects and the effects of on the field of monsters with the same original name. Then, if you activated that card during your main phase, you can apply this effect. Destroy all spells and trap cards your opponent controls. You can only activate one Fist of Fate per turn. So, really good for just negating all your opponent's effects and removing spells and trap cards. Here's the spells and traps for the for the Egyptian gods. Then, of course, you got Mound of the Bound Creator. Just protects your level 10 monsters. And then level 10 or higher. If a level 10 or higher monster destroys a monster by battle center of the graveyard, the player who controlled the monster destroy monster takes 1,000 damage. When this card is on the field, it's destroyed by effect and sent to the graveyard. You can add one divine monster from your deck to your hand. So really good for protection, damaging, getting some damage off on your opponent, or of course, it can also backfire and hurt you. And then, of course, it asserts you to a divine monster if it's ever destroyed. Then you got True Name. Really good for in combination with another card called Card Advance. We'll go over that in a little bit. Then, of course, for the traps, we have Metal Reflect Slime, which can summon itself into an Aqua Monster, a level 10 Aqua Monster with 3,000 defense points. And this, of course, allows you to tribute summon for the extra deck monster Egyptian God Slime. I will go over that when we get to the extra deck. And then, of course, we got the only trap. We got the Slife of the Sky Dragon trap card. Ultimate Divine Beast. Let's read. When an opponent monster declares an attack, you can discard one spell or trap, then target one divine monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position. Then change the attack target to it. During the end phase, if you control a divine monster you can destroy all spell face-ups cards your opponent controls that activated their effects on the field this turn. You can only activate this card once per turn. So really good for just some added protection during either turn. And with that, that is all of the Divine Beast, Divine Spell and Trap support. Finally, for the main deck, we have the non-Divine Spell and Trap support. This is where the fun begins. So, this is the card that works in tandem with the True Name. You look at the top 5 cards of your decks and then place them back in any order of you want. You'd use this card, then use the True Name because you already know what the next card is going to be. Declare that name and then then look at that card. And you gain it, and then you can special summon a divine monster freely. So, really good card. This card is also just really good for knowing what you have for the next 5 turns. Then you got Pot of Duality. Lets you look at the top 3 cards of your deck and then choose one to add to your hand and then shuffle the rest back into your deck. Cannot special summon the rest of this turn. Really good for just, getting a card from the top 3 cards. It's really good for just helping you get a card that you need. You got Raigeki. Destroys all your opponent's monsters. Fairly simple. Terraforming, searches your field spell. Foolish Burial, send something to your graveyard. Gold Sarcophagus, lets you banish a monster for 2, and then on the second standby phase after activating Gold Sarcophagus, you can add that banished card to your hand. Really good for getting an Egyptian god to your hand. Swords Revealing Light. Really good for just stalling. You got 3 turns to get your Egyptian God card out. Card Trader. Lets you put one card back from the hand to the deck and then draw 1 card. Sorry. So if you have a dead card in your hand, it's really good for just getting rid of that dead card and hopefully drawing something that you can use. Next up, you got 3 Solemn Wishes. A good continuous trap. Every time you draw a card, you gain 500 life points. Really good for just, again, increasing that life points after getting rid of all your life points for raw. And then, of course, Quaking Mirror Force. When an opponent controls a monster declared attack, change all attack position monster your opponent controls to face down defense position. Monsters change to face down defense position by this effect cannot change their battle phase. And with that, that is all of the non-divine spell and trap support for this deck. And that is all for the main deck. And then now, real quick and simple, not a big extra deck. All in the how we have in the extra deck is 3 copies of Egyptian God Slime. This requires 1 Aqua monster and 1 level 10 Water monster. But must first be either fusion summoned or special summoned from your extra deck by tributing 1 level 10 Aqua monster with 0 attack. That's your Metal Reflect Slime. So you summon Metal Reflect Slime in defense position. It has 3000 defense and 0 attack. And then you tribute it off to immediately get your Egyptian God Slime. This card can be treated as 1 or 3 tributes for a tribute summoning of a monster. Cannot be destroyed by battle. Your opponent's monsters cannot target for attacks, and your opponent cannot target with card effects any monsters you control except Egyptian God Slime. So it's literally just a really good wall to stall your opponent out. You summon this, and then you sit on it until you can get the Egyptian gods out. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is the Egyptian God Troll deck. So this deck means a lot to me. To be straight up, I personally did not build this. This was actually my Yu-Gi-Oh teacher's, the Oberon Galaxy's original deck. When he decided he did not want it anymore, he passed it down to me. And I've made very few modifications to this deck. This is probably the one deck that I will not ask for any advice for because, frankly, I won't add anything to this deck. I may add some Link monsters in the future just because of all the token spamming cards. But other than that, this deck hasn't changed all too much and it really won't change. The only additions that were added were the newer support cards. But other than that, I mean, the deck is a fun deck to play. It's not the most competitive, as obvious, because Egyptian gods aren't competitive. But it is a very fun deck to just hang out and just have fun with. One of my best duels ever was against this and a good buddy of mine from my locals and his Karibo deck. The duel took 45 minutes and it was just a slogfest back and forth, and it was fun because neither one of us could get ahead of the other. But with that being said, that is all for this episode. Make sure you all like and subscribe and leave a comment down below what you thought of the deck. And I'll have a poll up pretty soon after this video goes live of what our next deck profile should be. The 2 options from the previous poll are going to be there with some other options, of course. So with all that, I will see all of you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.